27% of employees are in the high-risk category of burnout. That's according to some recent research from Workday, which involved a survey of 2.6 million employees across 850 companies and 12 industries worldwide. Well, joining me live is Melissa Bowden, Senior HR Director for Asia Pacific and Japan at Workday. So that is a huge study and really big statistics as well, 26%. What is burnout?
Look, burnout is a variety of things, but fundamentally it's looking at the impact that it is having on an individual, and it can be around a whole variety of stuff that's actually contributing to it. And often what we find is a lot is around the organisational factors that are actually impacting. So it could be high workload, lack of resources, inefficient practices that are directly correlating to the way people are feeling around burnout. And so it's pretty substantial. And when you hear the 26, 27%, it's significant.
And how is it measured?
So we look at a number of factors when we measure it. So we think about, and using the tool that we have with Peakon, we look at employee engagement, but we specifically look around what our workmates are actually saying around workload, their ability to be able to deliver. And we're also looking at questions around the mental health, well-being, social well-being, the ability to stay connected, how they're feeling at home around flexible work and all of it. So this is how we were able to derive the data that we've got here today.
And what are your thoughts on the right to disconnect legislation?
Yeah, look, it's really interesting, and I think it's the government's way of trying to really address this blurred line between flexible work, working at home, when does your working hours stop and when does your private time start? So it's certainly a way for the government to be able to drive this. And France introduced it back in 2016, so there's a lot that we can learn from that. But certainly organisations are going to need to think about how do we manage and balance burnout, as well as create really good flexible working practices to be able to support our employees.
Yeah, because how does it affect the business for so many people getting burnout?
Absolutely. Look, it's certainly a loss of engagement and morale, which then reduces productivity and, of course, business performance. And what organisations are going to see is an increase in turnover if they're not addressing it. And so that, again, is going to reduce, of course, productivity, but rise in recruitment costs and training to get people back up to speed.
And I guess with burnout, it varies for different people. People perhaps need less time off than others. Talk us through what happens there.
Yeah, look, many organisations are really looking at sort of wellbeing subsidies and so on. They're looking at employee assistance programs. They're creating flexible working practices to really support. But fundamentally, what organisations need to do is they need to address the root cause of what's going on. And what we're seeing out of the report is that it's a lot to do with organisational factors like poor communication across the organisation, really complex processes, lack of resources, headcount and funding that's really attributing to it. So organisations have got a real opportunity to be able to address those.
And tell us about Workday and how it supports employees.
Yeah, look, we need to do a lot of that. So the good thing is that the report has come from the findings of our Peakon employee listening tool, and that's the clincher. That's really helped us gain the insights across our organisation and think of it as a heat map, a way for us to identify where we've got hotspots. That then enables us to go in and address what's actually going on to address the root cause. And of course, we then really support around wellbeing subsidies. We make sure that our practices and what we're doing on the walking the talk, so to speak, with regards to what we're doing to support our employees. We also look at flexible working, family-friendly practices at the office. So there's a lot that we're doing for our employees to mitigate and reduce this burnout.
And I guess a lot of people would be perhaps listening going, gee, maybe I've got burnout, or am I exhausted? What's that kind of level? Like, how do you know if you're not doing these surveys, for example, if you've got those warning signs?
Biggest thing is that often senior leadership may not be aware there's an issue. And I think the big thing for them is whatever platform you're using, please get closer to your workmates or your employees to understand that data and insights. That's going to really help you understand what's going on within your business. So then you're able to address it.
All right, great. Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.